back and share my screen again and crack down with, okay. So I'm gonna be talking, the session is focused on the food, nutrition, and COVID-19. Okay, so I will be touching base in different topics. I'll touch on the introduction, constitution of ingredients in the food, and also nutritional requirement on the balanced diet. What do we need to eat, particularly at this time of the year? And also effect of food cooking and preservations. What kind of methods do we have in place in order to ensure whatever we are cooking is cannot denature or affect the quality and the standard and nutritional of the produce that we intend to eat in order to have balanced diet and encounter and boost our immunity system to encounter any diseases or infectious diseases. And also I'll be talking about link between diet and disease and touching base on COVID-19. And I'll wind up the message by summarizing everything that I've spoken about. Let us begin. So I was asking the audience before I touch base on, I start my screen, can I ask, why do we eat food? So can I have answers on the, why do we eat? Why do we eat? Why do we need to eat? Why do we eat? Can somebody read for me, please? Yeah.
Okay, I've got many answers from the audience.
Yes, please.
Some are to survive.
Yes.
The others have said to feed the body from hunger, provide it with nutrients, to protect the body and grow, to fight foreign microorganisms, again, more to survive. So yes, the audience is interacting.
Oh, fantastic. That's really good. There's no wrong or right answer. So those are the perfect
And Fabra
answers.
has managed to sort sound. He wants to respond. Go ahead, Fabra.
I was not to be able to mute, sikuweza kujimute. Ndio sababu. Wewe nimefanikiwa.
No problem. Karibu.
Basi na ujumbe.
Welcome. Okay.
Na ujumbe kidogo.
We'll share at the end. Let's sister finish first.
Kulingana na hali ya hewa, kuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Tunakosa vitamini D kwa wingi. Hivyo tunajihitaji tule vyakula vyenye viturubisho vya mwili ili kujenga mwili. Kulingana na hali ya hewa huku tuliko, tuna ukosefu wa jua. Kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Hivyo tunakosa vitamini D kwa wingi. Tunahitaji vyakula venye viturubisho, tuongeze nguvu za mwili. Ndugu zangu, kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuna ukosefu wa jua, tunakosa vitamini D. Asante.
Thank you. Asante.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Fabra Moses. Okay. I think that's a message, a little bit of a message of what we are going to talk. So anyway, to crack down with the topic is, as we said, we had wonderful answers and interaction on the audience. People came up with different answers. So we eat food, first of all, to stay alive. Second, for leisure, for pleasure, social occasions, for comfort, for boredom, family situations, right? And the food that we eat, we need to provide, it needs to provide us with energy and be essential for our lives. Kwa hiyo inabidi tupe nguvu na tuweze kuishi. Sasa, what are the essential food that we need in this particular moment in time? We need food that can provide us energy, and these are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Not forgetting alcohol has got constitutions of energy, but I'm not telling you to go and drink alcohol because I've said it provides energy. So just bear in mind, but it's a source of energy. And we need some various foods which contains vitamins and minerals. essential for life, but this is needed in tiny amount, and this can only be provided through dieting, okay? And the nutritional requirement for all these foods do vary, and it varies based on the age group, it varies due to sex, of body size, state of health, and the level of activity and developmental stage. So let's say for people who are elderly, most of the time are sedentary. Their life, some of them, they can hardly move. So their life, or people who are working in the office, for instance, their life was sedentary. For those people, really and truly, and they're less mobile. So maybe they will be moving within the office, but if they're just sitting, obviously, they have to watch their nutritional constitutions. Sorry about this. Okay, so sorry about that. My phone has been ringing, so I had to hang it off. Okay. Yeah, so people who are, I was talking about for nutritional requirement depends on age. So people who are elderly, the requirement of the food they need will be different from the person who is moving, for the person who is actively involved in muscular activities. At the same time, the people who are actively involved, like athletes or people who are working in office, is different as well. Okay, so energy requirement also depend on the nature of the job. So those will affect. And also talking of the choice, people normally, we can choose on nutritional quality that we want. However, the choice can affect on what we want to eat. And this can be due to knowledge. People, they may not know what to eat, or how they may not know how to cook, or they may know this is like, they can go and find food, but they don't know what is the nutritional constitution is required in order to feed their body. Second, religious belief. Some people cannot eat certain food due to religious beliefs, or some people due to cultural belief, like where I come from, for instance, in the past, pregnant mothers were not allowed to eat eggs, because they had believed that when they eat, maybe the baby will come out with 3 legs, or with, but it was just it's a belief. It doesn't mean anything at all. And also some people cannot afford it. It's too costly. So access and availability, or cooking skills and facilities is not available. So talking of all this tended to affect the way how we think, or the way how we choose on what to eat and what to consume. So having said that, we are now in pandemic, and we have seen in pandemic that most countries have taken measures to quarantine their citizens, and they've put different measures to control the disease. And people are working from home, most of them, or most offices are closed. And the lifestyle has completely changed. This has had severe impact in terms of the diet choices, in the mobility activities that we have been used in the past. As a result, have affected on the way how we consume our meals. And some people have lost their jobs, for instance, or some have been furloughed. So most of the time had to stay indoors next to the television. So the weight tended to pile up. And this, in turn, has caused a lot of side effects, which I'll touch base when I come to the diseases which can be associated with nutrition, okay? So let us talk. Maybe I can ask another question. I have said we need food for energy, and we need food for essentially to make us live, or for life. And I've said in order to get energy is provided by carbohydrates, protein, fat, fat, and also alcohol. And in order to have life, I've said we need vitamins and minerals.
I was glass of water.
Okay, so I just want to ask the audience another question. nataka kuuliza swali la kizushi kwa audience. Why does the body need energy? Why does the body need fat, protein, and maybe carbohydrates? Why do we need that? You can post your answers on the, and the Dabupe can read loud for me.
Sure. So everybody is free to either respond verbally if you unmute yourself, or you can type your answers and I'll vocalize them for the rest of the group. But to kick off the answer, to be healthy is an answer from Damria Sable. Thank you.
Okay, I can help on that. So let's say we need energy. The body needs energy because our body have different processes in life. We need to breathe. The heart needs pumping. We need to keep ourselves warm, to maintain the temperature, at least to be at 37 degrees, to be able to move from point A to B. So the body constantly need energy. We need energy to think. When we think, we consume a lot of glucose. So again, is carbohydrates being bound to glucose in order to consume, in order to give us energy. So tunahitaji nguvu ya kufanya kazi. I'm talking Swahili and English together, so I hope then I can hope everybody can.
For cell growth is more answers, to get energy, body heat. So excellent responses, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, absolutely. Those are the right answers. And so in order to get those, all those activities to perform, in order for our body to perform well, we need to consume different foods, which can provide us with nutritional quality and constitution of energy. And each food that we consume contains energy. And this energy that is consumed can come from either carbohydrates, protein, or fat. So let's say, if you go to the supermarket, you check on the label and you see 20 calories of carbohydrates, or 1 gram of carbohydrates. Just to give you an idea, 1 gram of carbohydrates constitute about 3.75 kilocalories or kilojoules. Energy is measured in terms of joules. For those who did physics, they will understand this. So our body, for a normal human being to consume, normal human being, we need at least, for female, it needs at least 1,500 kilocalories in a day, whilst the male needs about 2,000. So if you're going to the supermarket, kama unaenda sokoni kununua chakula, ukinunua carbohydrates, inabidi uangalie sasa constitution, or when you are trying to make your meals, you need to consider the meals that can give you energy, and looking in the numbers, then you may be able to know how much you can constitute and how much you need before it may give you some idea of to make a wise decision when you're trying to buy or when you're trying to prepare your meals. So for instance, 1 gram of carbohydrates constitute about 3.75 kilocalories. 1 gram of protein constitutes about 17 kilojoules or 4 kilocalories. And fat is about 9 kilocalories. And any food that we consume, anything that we put in our mouth, it gives us energy. And that energy will have constitutional value or nutritional value. And we need to consume based on our physical ability, based on our age, based on our life stages, lifestyle. So what do I mean by this? For instance, for children who are still growing, they need a certain amount of protein. Children, adolescents, and pregnant, for children, they need more. But for adults, in terms of protein, we will need just a little bit because we just need to maintain our body and repair the body tissues. But for the children, they will need excess amount they will need carbohydrates, they will need protein, they will need fat because their body requires it to create energy because they're always actively moving compared to elderly person if they consume too much, or sedentary person, if they consume too much, this may have side effects, severe side effects like obesity or other diseases like coronary heart diseases if they consume unsaturated fats, which can be not easily digested, or if they exceed in excess. But I'll touch that when I get to the bottom of it. Okay. So when I started, I said that we need food in order to get energy and also essential to keep us going in life. Vitamins and minerals, they're the ones which gives us essential nutrients or vitamin constitution for us to go, to live. Kwa hiyo tumeongelea vyakula vya nguvu vinavyoleta nguvu ni protein, fat na carbohydrates na starch vya wanga, lakini vyakula vinavyotufanya sisi tuishi na kufight against, kutupa immunity pia, kuboost immunity, tunahitaji tu ni kiasi kidogo, lakini ni vitamin na minerals. So essential nutritional quality, food of nutritional quality, which is needed in a small quantity, and it has to come from the diet, are the ones which comes from are constituted from vitamins and minerals. These are very essential for us to keep us, to fight against the diseases and also to help us to survive, basically. And however, it doesn't provide us with energy. So vitamins and minerals do not give us an energy, but it is needed in small quantity, and it needs to come from the protein, from the diet, and also is essentially important to fight against these diseases and boost our immune system. Okay, so what are these vitamins? Anyone who knows what, I'm gonna ask another questions to the audience before I go down. Can somebody mention to me what sort of vitamins do you know? Just the list of vitamins, anyone that you know. Because pandemic has brought, awareness of vitamins. You have to have vitamin C, vitamin D. Do you know any sorts of vitamins? Can you list out or shout out? And
yes, the list says the responses so far: vitamin D, B, C. Thank you, Leah MC and Galaxy 21. I'm sorry I don't have a name. Phil says vitamin A, zinc. Nema says A and E. So they are clued on about their vitamins, definitely.
Oh, fantastic. That's very good. Just to mention, yeah, you have all right answers. So the most essential vitamins we do have at the moment, these are water soluble. We have water soluble and fat soluble. When I say water soluble, it means the food which contains vitamins which can easily be absorbed in the water. And if I talk about fat soluble, I'll be talking about the vitamins which have been constituted on the dietary product which contains meat product, fat product. So what are essential vitamins? Essential vitamins that we have are vitamin B, there is a folate, there is niacin, vitamin B1, B2, B6, and B12. And where do we get these vitamins? We have meat products, we have offals like utumbo, tuna maini, liver, we have all sorts of offals from the animals, intestines, because we eat those. And then cereal product, nuts, maharage, beans, pulses, and greens. Yeah. Sorry?
Beans.
Yes, beans, yeah, and vegetable. So all these helps us to release energy, but they're essential for our health, the blood system. It helps essentially to enhance our blood system. And also we do have fatty soluble vitamins. Fatty soluble vitamins, ndo hizo sasa mlizo vitamin A, D, and E. Why? Kwa sababu they come from fat-based dietary products. So vitamin A, for instance, comes from milk, cheese, carrots, liver, margarine, oil, fish, as well as carrots, because it contains carotenes. And also it has got carotenes, riboflavins as well. And we have got vitamin B. Vitamin B inatokana na sunlight. We need sunlight because in the morning, if you can think of the morning, not too like in a tropical country, like I'm talking about Tanzania and other countries, sometimes we have very strong sun rays that is not really the light we want. We want just mild sunlight, which can easily be absorbed on our skin. Kumbuka kwamba in our skin, we have a protein, we have melanin and keratin. So the protein in our skin, which is responsible to absorb the sun rate, UV light, to convert into, to be converted into, to be recepted and be converted into vitamin D to enhance the activities of our immune system, we get from sunlight. However, there are those people who cannot go out, who can hardly see the sunshine because they're elderly, because they have special needs, or it may be because we are in this pandemic. Talking of the COVID-19, most of us we have been mostly in enclosure, we are indoors, we can't go out. So where will we get vitamin D? And we know vitamin B is essentially important because of immunity system. We need our immune system to be functional. How do we get that? So that can be obtained from fortified food like margarine, spreads, meat, fish, eggs. All this can be fortified. When I talk about fortified, it means you have normal meat, lakini wanna add more vitamin D kwenye kile chakula, kwenye industrial level. Ndio maana kinafanywa kwamba ingawa unaikosa vitamin D kwenye sunlight, lakini unapata vitamin D kwa kutumia margarines, butter, spreads mbalimbali ambazo zinakuwa readily available. I hope you understand that. Yeah. And then vitamin E, where do we get it? Oh, again, on vegetable oils, kwenye leafy vegetables, kwenye whole meal grains, kwenye margarines, all these because are constituted of oils, hence are fatty soluble vitamins. Okay? I think you understood that. Okay? Now, when I talked about the minerals or constitution of nutrients which are essential for life, I also touched base about minerals. And minerals which are essentially important, we have calcium. Calcium is very important. Why? First of all, it helps with bones and skeletons. It strengthens our bones, it strengthens our skeletons, and also it helps in absorptions in certain functional of the body. And where do we get calcium? Calcium can easily be obtained in the dairy product, so, and also on the fish, soft bones of the fish, on nuts, seeds, pulses, greens, etc., etc. And also we have iron. Iron can be obtained from red meat and meat product. And we say the iron which is obtained in the meat product is a well-absorbed iron. Why? Because vitamin B12 or cassacobalamin is essentially important in order to make red blood cells in our body and also for function of our liver and so many other activities in our body. However, we can get iron through plant-based diet. Like soya, we can get from cereal, from bread, from lentils, dried fruits, etc., etc. And however, for those people who are vegan or who are eating non-meat products, in order to get iron, they will need to consume the whatever produce they're eating with vitamin C. Why? Because vitamin C can easily assist, can easily open up doors for absorption of iron from the plants. Hence, they have to eat a lot of varieties of plant-based products in order to incorporate or equally get the iron equivalent to that of red meat. But the red meat one is very, very important. So during pandemic, for instance, we have seen so many people engaging themselves, consuming lemon, consuming ginger, etc., etc. So we have seen a problem that lemons, if you eat in excess, there is symptoms which you call hematosis, or what is called is retention of iron, not to be absorbed. I think doctors will know better than myself. Retention of iron, instead of iron being absorbed, because if the body is more acidic, it kind of retains the absorption, or it prohibits iron absorption. So if you are a plant-based person, or if you're vegan, then careful thought needs to be taken into consideration in terms of minimizing certain kind of food. You shouldn't take in excess. You have to take everything in moderation. Okay. So let's talk about protein now, because we say we get protein from, protein is essentially important for giving us energy. However, protein is needed for growth and repair for our body tissues, okay? And all the proteins, basically, most of them, there are some from animal source and some are plant source. The plant source can be like soya, pulses, lentils, peas, etc. However, we have meat source, fish, eggs, milk, dairy product. So all these can be protein. The amount required for protein in babies, children, and adolescents do vary from those of grown-ups. The grown-up, they will need only for repair of the body tissues, for maintenance, because they don't need, they're not growing. They have grown, now they have reached the stage that the body needs to repair. The body needs to have to be maintained. For the young children, for mothers with expectant mothers, for babies, for breastfeeding individuals, they must have sufficient protein in order to ensure the growth of the babies, to ensure the growth of the children, the adolescents, as well as to repair the body tissues. Hence, if I get cut myself, it will get it may take me longer to heal compared to a young child or to adolescents. Reason behind, because of the level of the protein. So that's what I can say. And also we have fat. Fat is a very important as well source of energy. As I said before, we need energy in order to in our daily lives, and this can be obtained from oils like margarine, butter, fat, meat, cheese, biscuits, and cakes. However, when I talk about biscuits and cakes, you'll say, why do you talk about biscuits and cakes and nuts? These are confectionery. Why are you talking about that? Yes, I do. Why? Because they are hidden fats. We call invisible fats. And then there's the ones which are visible, which are infused. They're like, you can see, like oils, margarine, butter, you know them. However, the ones which have been incorporated into the products, like confectionery, those are invisible, you cannot see. So the constitutions are being calculated in terms of nutritional labeling, or in terms of the labels when they're being, when the product is being sold. But this varies between countries, from one country to the other. In one country, labda nchi nyingine, labda niongea hivi, katika kulebo chakula, nchi nyingine wata-insist kwamba lazima uandike nutritional constitution, uandike kila miming'inyo iliyokuwepo kwenye chakula, lakini katika nchi nyingine huna haja ya kulebo chakula. Kwa hiyo, when I talk about labeling, food labeling, I will touch base at the end. What do we mean? And hence, it's easier for somebody to know when they read at the label how much constitution is required for them to consume, because they'll be well aware. Like here in the United Kingdom, for instance, labeling is very crucial. We have Food Information Regulation 2014, and we have got Regulation EC 1169 2011, which requires every food business, everybody who is dealing with food, to ensure they put the labels in their product in order for the consumer to be well informed, to understand what constitution, what ingredients are incorporated into the product. Kwa hiyo kama mtu anaenda kununua labda biskuti au anaenda kununua keki, anaangalia, anasema, okay, this is my cake. What is the constitution? What is the ingredients which have been incorporated? What are the allergens? Yani kuna allergen kama vitu ambavyo vinaweza vikasababisha madhara, labda nuts, labda soya, labda kuna au sulfites. Mtu anajua, kuna kitu ambacho sikipendi. So consumer becomes very aware that there are certain constitutional ingredients which, if I consume, may be hazardous to my health, or they can then make their own informed choice based on the labels. So anyway, I was talking about fat, and then I just wanted to give the heads up to everybody. Another thing is, what I wanted to talk about is our body requires only 35% of fat. And the fat which is obtained from fat-constituted products is more concentrated. And we need it. It's very essential because it helps us to absorb some vitamins. However, we just need it in a very small amount, okay? And if we have excess of this, we may end up having coronary diseases, we may end up having weight gain, which is, we are seeing ourselves. I was walking the other day in my office, and then my colleagues were saying, what has happened to you? And then I'm asking the other one, oh, what happened to you? Because we are now home-based working. Most of our food is just, we just walk in the kitchen. Next thing you know, you're working, you have got plate next to you, and then you just pile up pounds, pile up weight, pile up weight. So these are the things that has been raised during this pandemic. Let's talk about carbohydrates, energy source. Starch, yeah? We have so many starch produce that we eat as Africans, as ethnic minority, and starch-based products are the major source of energy. For instance, carbohydrates, or the main source like starch, we can get from cassava, from potatoes, mihogo, from magimbi, from pasta, from bread. So all these can easily be obtained anywhere in any country. And we can easily pile up pounds or get energy, obviously. We need, it's essentially important for energy. But however, we need to eat in a minimal, not excessively. Also, we have sugars, also comes under carbohydrates. Sugars, tunaweza tukapata kutokana na, tunapata sugars kutoka kwenye table sugar. Table sugar tunaita sucrose. Table sugar, sukari tunayoitumia kawaida tunaita sucrose. Au tunaweza tukapata glucose syrup au lactase. Lactase tunapata kutoka kwenye maziwa, lactose sugar. Pia ni sugar hizo. Kwenye maziwa, ukichukua maziwa kuna sukari pia, inaitwa lactose. Ukienda kwenye matunda, kwenye fruits, you get fructose. So those provide such energy. It's very crucial. However, if you eat in excess, let's say you eat a lot of sugars, what do we get? Teeth decay. Is it important for us? Yes, we need energy, but we have to know we need only 5 a day. With this pandemic, 5 times a day, 7 times a day. That's very important. We need them. However, we need to reduce, not in excess. Eat the right amount is nutritionally recommended. Okay? Fiber. Fiber does not give us any energy at all. However, it helps our bowel movement. And how does it help with bowel movement? If we eat a lot of fibers, it can help us to go to the toilet, obviously. And also, it can give us essential, cleansing of or detoxing in our stomach. So, and helping to absorb more nutrients in our body. So we need fibers, obviously. And all those comes through, it comes in the form of carbohydrates. Na tunaweza tukapata fiber kwa mfano kwenye, ni muhimu sana kula fibers kila siku. Tunaweza tukapata kwenye cereal products, tunaweza tukapata fibers kwenye, we can get fibers kutoka kwenye cabbages. So, and all sorts of things that we have around us, yeah? Okay, so what do we need for nutritional requirement or for balanced diet? We need on our plate, we need the colorful plates. The colorful plates, when I say colorful plate, we need fruits and vegetables. We need at least half of starch or half of starch products. We need cereal, bread or potato. We need meat or fish. We need milk products like cheese, dairy products, etc., etc. And also a little bit of fat and sugar in order to balance our diet. Hiyo ndo mimingine tunayohitaji matunda, tunahitaji nafaka, tunahitaji mkate au viazi, tunahitaji nyama, samaki, maziwa na product za maziwa, yani mazao yanayotokana na maziwa. Pia tunaotokana na vitu ambavyo vina mafuta na pia vina sukari, lakini sio kwa wingi sana, unakuwa katika moderation in order to balance. Kwa hiyo ukichukua sahani, unaweka sahani yenye maua, lakini tuseme sio maua, unaweka hapa chakula labda kidogo matunda, hapa cereal, hapa wali, hapa dairy product. So those are the balanced diet that we need. Okay? Now, I need you to understand about food processing and fortification of food. When I talk about food processing, the food that is being canned in the industry, food that is being preserved. So what is it? Yeah? Why am I talking today? And this is pandemic, okay? Pandemic, yes, But we need to eat whole foods, yani chakula ambacho unprocessed whole foods, for instance, whole grains. However, during pandemic, tumeona shelves have been emptied in certain areas in the world, particularly here in Europe. People bought the candy products, a lot of processed food is stored in their homes. However, this processed food, sometimes we do what is being done is it tends to be fortified. Fortification is additional of essential nutrients or vitamins to the product. And once you add one product, you need to consider the balance of the food that you're making. Let's say you're making a canned tomatoes, right? Or you're making a yogurt. You want to fortify, you add vitamin D in that yogurt, right? Vitamin D is added to that product. And on that vitamin D, what happened next? So you need sugar, you need milk, you need to balance that to make sure the food in that can is safe. So we add so many preservatives and additives to ensure the food that has been preserved ni safi na salama na kina contain nutritional content, is safe of food standards and quality and contains essential nutrients and contents that it required. So what do we say as a scientist? Scientists, lazima, as a scientist, we need to consider intrinsic and extrinsic factors. We need to consider that there is no any microbial organisms potentially essential to cause any pathogenic diseases, any infectious diseases to destroy or to distort that product. Tunaangalia kwamba tunavyotengeneza chakula kwenye kopo au chakula tunavyokihifadhi hakiwezi kikaharibiwa kwenye usalama, kwenye nutrition, kwenye miming'inyo ile inayotakiwa, na pia hakiwezi kuleta madhara kwa mlaji. Sasa tukiangalia wakati tuna add zile fortification ingredients, sometimes we do end up destroying the constitution of all the required ingredients which are in that product. Hence, when you buy the product, or when we talk about nutritional, normally, especially with this pandemic, what I always advise my clients or the people that I train, I say, look, always it's better to buy fresh foods, cook fresh foods if you can, but it doesn't mean that processed food is bad. It's not that bad, because it may contain certain constitution of nutrients, but it tended to go down or to decrease as the time goes. Hence, manufacturers, they have to go through intense microbiological testing, knowing the shelf life of the product, knowing the quality of the product, knowing when the test and the standard of that product will be, will be deteriorated or will be at the end, or what I can say. So as a food expert, for instance, I'll talk about very simple, for instance, talking of vitamin A has got retinols and beta carotenes. That's the nature. When you take a carrot, when you see the color and the constitution, those are the minerals, those are the vitamins that we need. But throughout cooking is very heat stable. Although when it reaches at high temperature, like for instance, if you do canning, when you do canning of the carrots, or when you store carrots in the canning, because it goes at the temperature above 120 degrees, what happens to that? Or temperature above that, in order to destroy the Clostridium perfringens, one of the difficult bacteria to destroy, Clostridium perfringens or Clostridium botulinum. In that saying, the constitution or the nutritional quality of that product may be compromised. Hence, the shelf life may be shortened. So I'm not saying the processed food is bad, but I'm encouraging, with this pandemic, if we can eat fresh, buy fresh ingredients, whole grains, and I can encourage as much of us, especially particularly back home, people, you can just have your garden, you have farms, shambas, you pick up from the farm and you cook, and it's more healthier than looking for a quick fix or processed food. Okay. So another thing is careful storage, preparation, and nutritional loss can be kept at minimum if we have to consider manufacturer's advice. Or you can farm, if you have vegetables, unaweza ukavuna vegetables, you can pick up your vegetable, cut, prepare them, make sure you follow manufacturer's advice, or if possible, eat fresh, and whatever is left, you can preserve them. We have different methods of preservations. You can put in the fridge for 2-3 days, knowing that you're going to consume it. However, we have also different preservations methods. Like we can do brining. For instance, for fish, we can do brining. We can have dry freezing. Dry freezing, you remove all the constitution of water content, and you can eat that product at ugali after 2 years. We call it lyophilization or dry freezing. Yani unachukua chakula, unapika hata ugali na maharage, lakini unataka ule miaka 3 ijayo. Kwa hiyo unaondoa maji kwenye kile chakula. Hiyo process inaitwa lyophilization. Or you can do brining. Brining ni kwamba you put meat, preserving meat. You put salt on the meat, salting on the meat. We call it brining. Or you can do vacuum packaging. Vacuum packaging ni kwamba you trickle the oxygen and nutrition and nitrogen levels in order to ensure that, the air, you remove the air into the product in order to prohibit microorganisms. Or you can do MAP, modified atmospheric packaging. There are so many methods we can use. Or you can use vinegar in order to kill microorganisms. However, all those methods are cool in order to preserve the food to eat for future, for food security. Hang on, what about nutritional quality? Those are the factors we need to consider. Always we say eat fresh. If you can't, go for that option, okay? Another thing is talking of nutrients such as vitamins and minerals can be added to food during processing and production, which I've said. Yeah, in those, again, we add a lot of preservatives like ascorbic acid. We add lots of things in order to prolong the life and shelf life, knowing that, and also making sure the food we prepare is safe and can be consumed in future. All these is just to balance, to say, okay, we are preserving the food to be safe, secure, with nutritional quality. But vitamins and minerals, some of them are delicate, some are shelf life can last short. For instance, let me just touch one. For example, in protein. Protein can easily be denatured by temperature, can easily be denatured by heat. Can I ask, some of us who live abroad or even back home, if we go to the supermarket, how many of you have you seen a meat product, a red meat like beef, stored in the fridge, and then the color has deteriorated? It's not red, brick red, like, it's not a red. Inakuwa kama imeanza kupotea, damu kama imepotea. It's like it's flourishing, it's gone, it's like cooked, or it's like gone. Have anybody seen that? Any colleagues have seen that? Yes, you have seen.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's oxidation, you see. So the brick is like iron, because we know there is iron. Iron is folic acid. Once exposed into oxygen, obviously it oxidizes. So the brick red, the color, though the product will be fit and well to be consumed, but the color is gone. So what do you know about the nutritional quality of that product? The nutritional quality, maybe it's okay, but some of the nutritional constitution may be gone. Because why? Again, we talk about food preservation methods, okay?
Sister Petronella, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
I felt this question is good to ask now while you're explaining.
Absolutely.
Leah is asking, does the freshly home-cooked food lose its nutrients when frozen for future consumption? Okay,
let me just explain this. We have freezing is a technique which prolongs. It's a very good question. Thank you very much, Leah. Preservation, of food, one of the methods we use is freezing. And freezing, we lock moisture content. When we lock moisture content, it means microbial organisms, which are supposed to cause food poison or essentially pathogenic or essential to cause diseases, can be prohibited. However, there are some few which can survive, like Listeria monocytogenes. So you asked about, is it fresh to eat for future? Yes, it is. However, what we say, the minimum is the better, or fresh food is the best than anything else. Preserving, there's nothing wrong with preserving food. It has been a technique, even medicines. We use lyophilization methods or dry freezing for medicine in pharmaceutical, the same as in food. We preserve in order to be used in a year time, in 2 years time. There's no harm. Those are methods which helps us to have future food which is safe and secure. However, in terms of nutritional quality, it may have been a little bit not the same as originally it was. Have I answered the question? I think so.
Yeah, so there's a slight deterioration even in freezing. So fresh again is better. That's
Fresh
what you're
is
telling
better.
us.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it's better. So, so let us go to the next section. So I wanted to talk about the effect of cooking and preservations. Can you see my screen here? Very first left on my left is, you can see potatoes. They're a bit burnt, isn't it? Can you see that? And then in the middle, you can see the toast is burnt as well. So let's talk about these two first. So any starch or any pastry, when it is burnt in this color, has passed to has gone further to golden yellow or further beyond, like the one that we see. It means the starch has gone through a process called Malay. I said, if you see these pictures, when a starch is exposed or is processed to this color, we call it has gone through Maillard reaction, whereby the starch constitution, the starch, we're talking here about glucose, fibers, whatever is constituted in this bread or in these potatoes, have been affected, have been exposed above 120 degrees or 110 degrees. As a result, the water has reacted to form Maillard and causes acramides. Acramides can cause cancer in the long run. So for anyone who is preferring toast which is burnt or any starch which is burnt, we say, please just review your method of cooking. Why? Because you are destroying the constitutional quality of that kind of product. Same as barbecuing. Utakuta kwamba, you see people are burning the food. They want the freshly burnt, you know, they want them coming out and then they just scratch off. You know why? Again, we talk about polycyclic aromatic carbons which are being formed, ambavyo hivyo vinaweza vikasababisha kile chakula kuwa sio safi na salama. So in Swahili that I say, for instance, chakula kinachoungua sio kizuri, especially cha starch, kwa sababu kuna chemical inaitwa acramide. Acramide inasababisha cancer in the long run. Hata kama mnaweza mkawa hamna historia ya kansa muda mrefu, lakini baadaye mkaja mkapata mazao ya kansa kwenye familia, ukasema yametokea wapi? Kumbe literally it's the method of cooking, method of preservations. The same as meat, nyama, unavopika, when you are barbecuing, barbecue nyama, unavochoma nyama, usitake nyama iliyoungua, not the burnt, you have to have in modulations. But don't undercook any food because it may carry pathogenic bacteria, yani wadudu ambao wanaweza kusababisha magonjwa. Or don't overcook the food because what? It may cause, or it may
is this causing any issues with iron absorption?
So I'll just say for the milk tea, within the milk it's rich in calcium, for instance, and that can have an effect on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But for black tea alone, we have to know exactly what's the content of the tea itself. Mm-hmm. Has it got other minerals which can interfere with iron absorption? I think that's the question we have to know.
All right. So milk is to pay attention for those milk teas, and also to pay attention to the labels of the tea that you are drinking. What else is included in the ingredients of that tea? Sorry, I'm asked to ask it. One more question. Is there any harm in buying meat and freezing it on the same day and then defrosting it after a few days to cook and freeze again? Working mother syndrome.
Okay, I can just explain that straight away. First of all, when you're taking food, whether it's processed food or meat product or any kind of food, if you bought a food, it's intended to be frozen, then freeze it. When you defrost, use it and don't refreeze again. Why? When you take the food out of the fridge, you defrost it, it comes from -18 degrees where we have bacteria in the fridge. Bacteria are sleeping. We call, like, only one who can manage to be alive, which is Listeria monocytogenes, and is dangerous to the very vulnerable group of people. So when you defrost, it goes to temperature between 0 to 80 degrees or up to 80 degrees, whereby bacteria start flourishing. We call it flourishing. And then when you cook, it goes all the way up to 75 degrees. So when it goes to 75 degrees, it means it passes through a danger zone. And a danger zone is between above 5 degrees, which is fridge temperature is normally 0 to 5 degrees. So above 5 degrees is a cooking temperature, up above 75 degrees. 75 degrees, it means you have destroyed all the microbial organisms. And remember, our body temperature is at 37 degrees. So at 37 degrees, we are prone to receiving all sorts of microbial organisms, including Salmonella, Campylobacter, Botulinum, Shigella, you name it. So in order for, and if you have cooked that product, you have served it, and then you cool it down, you're gonna go down up to 80 degrees. It means it has gone through again in a danger zone. And then you put in the freezer. And then tomorrow you're gonna take again, defrost it, serve it. So it has gone in a danger zone 2, 3, 4 times. That's not a safe way of cooking. Though I can fully understand it's very easy, we are very busy. That's the way, the style of life we live. However, if we can minimize, cook to serve is best, but I'm not condemning the process of refreezing. You can cook, freeze, and then consume the food once it's reheated above 75 degrees, cook, eat it, then that's it. Don't keep on freezing, cooking, it picks up many microbial organisms, and some of which can form spores. They are very dangerous to control. It's not easy to destroy. As a result, it can cause serious harm to the health, including causing salmonellosis, causing typhoid. We have, for instance, you are talking about meat. We don't want E. coli, for instance. So we have to be cautious of that. Yeah.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you.
Thank you. So I was explaining, shall I go ahead?
Yes, continue. Yes.
Thank you. So I have just a few slides to finish. So I was talking about the processes of cooking, and I said starch, for instance, potatoes. First, don't store potatoes, humble potatoes, in a fridge or in a place where it can be easily access heat, air, and light. Why? Because if you leave the potatoes in the light, it creates a substance called solanine. Unaonaga inaanza green, inakuwa kijani or green, or it starts shooting. So when it starts shooting, that's a poison. That's a poison. We don't need that because it can cause food poisoning. That food is not fit to eat. However, we normally cut and carry on, cook and eat. That's a natural occurring substance, which is chemically not fit for human consumption. It's called solanine. And also, where should we store? In the fridge? In the fridge, no, you shouldn't. Why? It goes through Maillard reaction. I've talked about toast or potato being cooked and burnt, cooked in a burnt texture or color. But when you put in the fridge, it goes through the same reaction called Maillard reaction, and it forms acrylamide. Acrylamide is toxic substance. It's a chemical substance which can cause cancer. So you don't want to go through that again. So where do we keep these potatoes? Keep in the dark, highly aerated area, away from sunlight. It can last longer, it can prohibit growth, and it won't be able to form the greenish part of the plant, and we can eat and enjoy the humble potato. Okay, so let's go to another. So this, I'm talking about solanines in potato. These are humble potato I'm talking. Viazi vitamu, msivihifadhi kwenye mwanga, muhifadhi sehemu yenye giza, ambayo haiwezi kasababisha vikaota. Ikianza kutoa sumu ile kijani au vikianza kuota, basi hivyo havifai. Wekeni kama mbegu, au basi kama hamwezi kupanda, basi viwekeni mbali, viondoke, vikate au mvitupe. Lakini ukikata ukila, inatengeneza substances called solanine. Solanine is not good. It's food poisoning. Inasababisha food poisoning. Okay? Red kidney beans. What's wrong with that? Unajua kwenye blood we call hemoglobin. Tuna kitu tunasema hemoglobin, red blood cells, isn't it? Doctors will help me with that. Kwenye kidney tunasema in hemagglutinin. Hem means red. Glutenin ni certain protein inayopatikana kwenye maharage. Sasa maharage yakiwa mekundu, tunachosema inabidi uloweke. You need to soak at least for 12 hours in order for that red color to go, and then the next day, unayaosha, you wash it. And then you cook for at least 1 hour, for 12 hours, or at least for a certain time, mpaka yakiiva, then you can consume it. Why do we say hemagglutinin? Because it can cause food poisoning again. So these are naturally occurring substances in the beans. However, those are proper procedures in preparations. But please note, I'm talking about the red kidney beans variety, and I'm talking the raw ones. The dried beans. I'm not talking the processed ones. The processed ones have gone through that process and they're okay. You can consume them. There's no problem. Okay? So let us talk about the link with COVID-19, okay? So during COVID-19, I was one preaching on the other talk when I was interviewed with Zanzibar TV, and I talked about ginger, because ginger contains zinc, turmeric contains curcumin, lemons contains a lot of citric acid, and also garlic has allium and also has got salicylates. And really, they're immune boosters. They're really beneficial to our body, and we need them. But we don't need them in excess. Why? Yeah. Though they are very important for us. However, if you eat anything in excess, that's when there's a problem. COVID-19 ilivyokuja, watu wamekula tangawizi. Kama tangawizi zingekuwa zinapiga mluzi zingesema, tumekula hivi vyakula vyote, ginger, binzari, lemons na kila kitu. However, lemon now, let's talk lemon. Lemon, if you eat in excess, you can get tooth decay, same as some of the ingredients above. You get nausea, unasikia kichefuchefu, unasikia heartburn, kama moyo unaban, I don't know what in Swahili. Pia unaweza ukapata diuretic effect. Diuretic ni kama kuharisha madaktari nafikiri.
Kiungulia na nini kama unakojoa sana, si ndio?
Yeah, kukojoa sana. Na kitu kingine, hemochromatosis, yani iron retention. Daktari nadhani mnanielewa zaidi. Hemochromatosis ni kwamba iron inakuwa not absorbed. Na tumeongea kule kwamba tunahitaji iron inayotokana na, kwa mfano meat inakuwa easily absorbed. Kama ukila sasa iron ambayo inatokana na mimea inakuwa not easily, ambayo plant based, they are not easily absorbed. So you need to eat a varieties in order, including vitamin C, in order to be absorbed quickly. So as a result here, what I'm trying to say is we can eat whatever we want to eat. And these things that ginger, turmeric, lemons, the ingredients that you can find on these ingredients, can be also found in other food substances, in pulses, in cereal products, in nuts, seeds, and all sorts. So as long as we have balanced diet, as long as we have a wonderful plate with different colors. Here we have fat contents, we have oil, sugar, a little bit of starch content, fruits and veg, a very colorful, a balanced diet plate. We are safe. Just boost your immunity. Move a bit. Don't be sedentary. Don't just sit and wait. The government, though, they've put some lockdowns, some provisions, different provisions that to scan the cool, but still you can move about. You can do exercise in a day. So the more exercise we do, the more balance that we have, the more health we are. Pandemic has made us obese, have made us psychologically be affected. But all in all, when you do exercise whilst you're eating, you feel healthier, you feel more happier, and also you boost your immunity. And also just a little note before I wind up everything is excessive food intake, it can cause obesity. And that's what is happening now with pandemic. We have seen it and it's happening. And that's what we are now. Everyone, as I said, I walked in the office the other day, I'm looking at my colleague, hello, and he says, hello. The dresses are now tops, they're up here. So this is the situation that we are in now. And as I say, excessive fat consumption, you remember, fat is a source of energy. And the concentration is a high concentration of energy, and we only need only 35% in our diet in a day. And if we eat in excess, obviously we're gonna get cardiovascular diseases, heart diseases, and we don't need that. We need to save our doctors and NHS and our healthcare professionals and healthcare systems. So that's what I can say. So anyway, tips, what do we need to do? always base your meals on starch foods. At least half of your plate work as starch in order to get energy. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables, at least 7 in a day, though they say 5 a day, but you can have 7 a day. Eat more fish product, cut down on saturated fats and sugars, try to eat less salt, no more than 6 grams a day. Get active, do some exercise, drink plenty of water, don't skip your breakfast, yeah? So that's what I can say. And to wind up everything, maybe to recap on what I have said, basically what I can say, we need a balanced diet. And we know food is a main source of our energy and is the main in order for us to live. And we need energy in order for our body to function properly. And there are a variety of products that we need to consume. And these products can be proteins, fats based, can be carbohydrates. And remember, protein, fat, carbohydrates, and alcohol, these tend to provide us energy, whilst the vitamins and minerals tend to provide us with essential nutrients, which keeps us going or keeps us living, basically, okay? And as I say, each individual product provide us different amount of energy depending on the amount of various energy which is constituted within that kind of food that we are consuming. And also there are different number or amount of that is required, different amount or energy a person needs depending on a number of factors. So there are some because of their body size or because of their lifestyle or because of their body composition, because of their age, because of their physical activity, the amount of nutritional amount required for them to consume, it can be related to the food they're consuming, okay? And I've talked about proteins are very essential for building our cells. And some of you contributed wonderful answers on the audience. And this is very important for maintaining our body tissues, body repair and growth. And each age group has different requirement in protein. And we have proteins which can be provided by animal source, and we have proteins which are provided by plant source. Proteins also consist of amino acids. And these amino acids, some can be dispensable and some which cannot be indispensable. Okay, and eating the right mix of food is very important to provide a right balanced diet. And also fat, our body needs fat, and the fat is very concentrated in energy, and we need to take care when we are consuming this food, because we may end up, if we eat in excess, we may end up in obesity or weight gain or getting heart related diseases. And also I talked about sugars, and I talked about sugars are very important, like starch, sugar, and fibers. We get sugars from fruits, we get fibers from various products, and we get starches from roots and tubers. These are essential to give us energy. However, the fiber is not, is a form of carbohydrates, but it's not important, it doesn't give us energy. I said this helps our bowel movement or gastrointestinal tract movement. And it's very essential because it helps us to clear the gastrointestinal tract for other nutrients to be absorbed. Okay, so I would like to wind up by saying also, I did say about different methods that we use on fortification, preparation of food. It's very crucial. And when we add additives, when we add different preservations, we do consider food safety, because if we don't look on food safety, there may be pathogenic microorganisms, wadudu ambao wanaweza wakatokea and harm that food. Or if we add certain constitution or fortify the food, there may be some of the ingredients or vitamins which may be lost. Or if we preserve food, some of constitutional ingredients may be lost due to heat, can be lost due to long preservation or during the process. Why? Because of the way how they are made. Some are water soluble, some are fat soluble, etc., etc. So careful methods have to be thought, and it has to be scientifically proven before you give a shelf life of a product, and that to be microbiologically tested. Here in UK, we have different regulations in terms of microbiological testing of each product, okay? If whether it's composite product or any or non-composite product, okay? And also, I've talked about different methods and how they can harm the food. Talked about potatoes. We need to store the potatoes in a dark, highly aerated area in order to stop it from growing. And because once it grows, then it causes solanine, which is a toxic substance, and the naturally occurring. So we need to take care of that. And I leave you home with a message that let's have a plate with lots of colors. And thank you very much to Heather. And I would like to say, to leave you with a message, maybe I can invite again Fabla to wind up with the last message of vitamin D. Asante.
Asante sana, Petronella. Asante sana.
Asante.
That have been amazing. That was amazing.
Asante sana.
Okay, if you stop and share your slides, and it'd be great. And jamani, kama kuna maswali, miani umeniua pale posema kwamba ukoko ni noma, I say. No. Sasa
wapenzi wa ukoko wako wengi. There's many of you who love that leftover rice.
Haya bwana Fabra, hebu tuambie kwanza, tupe mziki wa kuondokea. Let's have another 10-15 minutes before we wind down. So Fabra, ukumbi wako. Unmute yourself, tupe mziki. Thank you very much for that. Professor Kibiki, karibu. Unmute, ana weka mkono hapo. Karibu Professor. Unmute yourself.
Just unmute him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. It's impressive. I was so excited to see you guys, and the Petronella, you are doing a great job. So I'm impressed really what TUHEDA is doing and the members of TUHEDA, what they're doing. I wanted to make just few comments. That one is about tea. We have to differentiate tea and the so-called tisanes. Tea is what normally in Tanzania you drink because it has caffeine. And the tisanes are these, the green tea, the rooibos, the peppermint, and the chamomile, whatever. All these, they have a lot of health advantages that shouldn't be taken for granted. But you need just to go read each one of them. And the tea itself, as we have talked, to do with food, but let us understand that tea for centuries has been used as part of treatment. It boosts immunity of what we need. Most of us, we know during cold weather, because of some viral infections, we drink tea. And it has been used for centuries. It is good for anti-inflammation. It has been seen to also to be useful for heart diseases, even preventing cancers. So we may need just to understand. Now, if the question is when it should be taken, that's a different subject, and it has a lot of complications. In general, it has been advised if the food is abundant of proteins, then don't start with tea because of the acid that is in there, that it can result into coagulation or precipitation of protein and make absorption difficult. So that has been a general rule, but only if it's taken in. You take it and immediately you have food. So many, they've been advising that give a space of 1 hour between, then it will be fine that both will have advantages. Tea has its advantages, and also the food you are eating, it has its advantages. So give a space between the two of them. Now, there have been also a question, how hot, how cold the tea can be. As you know, the other side of the Atlantic, Americans, they prefer iced tea. And the European side mainly is hot tea, especially in the UK, it's mainly hot tea. So there have been all these questions. I published a study like 10 years or 12 years ago on the association, probably association of tea and the cancer of the gullet, the esophagus, or the digestive tract. Yeah, and we could find that was the best association we could find why there are high rates of cancer of the esophagus along the eastern and southern African side than any other side. All the other factors didn't work. So again, be careful how hot that tea will be, because it may be associated, much as it is good for treatment of cancer, as Chinese, literature is saying, but also we think it may be too risky if you drink it too hot. I wanted to add also to Petronilla, which is really good, a very good job, that there's advancement of the kind of food that we should be eating, that we're eating now. There have been questions really whether truly there's an advantage or it is more the anecdotal or token advantage. The reason came from the study. In fact, Oxford, UK did this some years back, that if you look 100 years BC, that is before Christ, the average lifespan was around 72, 74 years. If you take out those who died before that, and I have used the word lifespan deliberately and not life expectancy, because expectancy is just the average. So if one dies at 2 years old and another one dies at 80, you add the two, you divide, and then you get the life expectancy. So the lifespan was found to be 100 years BC, before Christ, is almost the same with now. So with all this advancement of knowledge in food and eating balanced diet and so on, so what really has it added to our lifespan? Because seems like to be we are the same. And now the UK literature, you can go into that and you find that they're saying actually we have stopped. The lifespan does not seem to be improving any further. So have we reached the point of a peak now? We'll be going down. These are some of the issues that we may want to read more. The third thing I want to also to share with you is the work that was done by one of my PhD students, is Godfrey, is enrolled in Rabout University in the Netherlands, where also I supervise PhD students. Recently, he did a study in Kilimanjaro to compare those living in urban setting and those living in rural settings. And it was found certainly that those who are in urban settings, like Moshi Town, Arusha, and such, they have a so-called pro-inflammatory cytokines. You can help me with that. Things that will make you react easily, and therefore you are more prone to like non-communicable disease like cancer, like heart disease, etc. And the anecdotal may be even more likely to be prone to other infectious diseases. Now, I don't want to say COVID, because once you mention COVID, then it's taken, that is the main message. But we are prone to that than those who live in rural areas. And the major reason that we found out of that was the type of food that is eaten in rural areas than eaten in urban setting. So those who we are living in places like London and so, we are more prone to get non-communicable diseases than those who live in rural areas of Iringa or Bukoba or in Mtwara or somewhere there. And we have to know these facts. So this is my contribution for now. But thank you so much for the good work that TUHEDA is doing. And Petronilla, I appreciate your good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you very much, Professor Kibika, and good to see you, and thank you very much for that contribution. And tumefurahi sana. Masi sija kuona siku nyingi. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Small bunny.
Kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Tunakosa vitamini B, vitamini B. Tunakosa vitamini B kwa wingi. Inatubidi tule chakula zenye viturubisho. Kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Kulingana na hali ya hewa, tuliko, tunakosa vitamini B. Vitamini B kwa wingi, tunakosa vitamini D kwa wingi. Hivyo inatupasa tule vyakula vyenye viturubisho jamaa, kupata nguvu za mwili. Kulingana na hali yake wa tuna ukosefu wa jua. Kulingana na hali yake wa tuna ukosefu wa jua huku tuliko. Asante.
Hey.
Asante sana. That's good.
Ilikuwa haraka tunajua fikra.
That's all good, so good. Thank you very much. So catch up tomorrow. So have a good evening.
Asanteni sana, asante sana.
Asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Petronella. That was amazing. You killed it. You smashed it.
Oh, thank you. That's mean a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Asante.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.